Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to FRS Season 6. We are here just past the halfway point of the season, Round 6, and we're making another visit to our home circuit here in Miami, our home country, our second home race. Here's the track around the Hard Rock Stadium, 5.4 kilometers around, 19 corners, and 3 DRS zones to contend with. Some long straights make it a much lower downforce setup track than you would expect from its twisty layout, but relies so much on mechanical grip. It's only the second time the FRS has made multiple visits to one nation in a season. Last time that happened was Season 4. We visited both Imola and Monza for Italy. Now, turn 11 is the first of your action zones. The end of the first long DRS straight, not counting the pit straight, down into a sharp left-hander, leads to a battle that can continue through the next couple. And then turn 17, the end of the long back straight as well, the straight. Heavy braking in this hairpin then leads on to the start-finish straight. Tire compounds, soft, mediums, and hards as usual. The medium is about 0.7 of a second slower per lap, and the hards 1.3. Now, as far as tire life goes, the soft's only good for about 10 laps in this race, so typically not going to get a lot of use. The mediums will go 19 laps, and the hards will do 28 of this 29-lap race. So it is one that can do the entire distance. They are very, very resilient. Now let's take a look at the championship standings real quick and see how it is shaking out. LC Fighter on top by just 1 point ahead of Cryptic F1. Lorebo up into third now with 58 points. Our teammate Queasy Pluto is on 50. Nick is on 40, and we are sitting at 37 points in 6, so still inside the top 10. Pepmeister getting involved, though, jumping up into the top 10. Then you have Spen, MJ Povey, and Nemesis rounding out the order. So we'll jump ahead to the first run of qualifying here. Opening the DRS as we cross the start-finish line. This short little run down into turn 1. Find the braking point and get turned in for this first apex. We're a little wide there. Sweeps back to the left. Have to make a little bit of a correction with the rear end getting unsettled and really not confident getting on the throttle through that long right-hander. So we've lost a bit of time against our ideal lap. Now through this twisty little middle part of the first sector where you just kind of weave back, forth, and then the tough corner is turn 7 and 8, but rears lock on us, which doesn't happen very often, but the rear end of the car locked up, and we are off the track, and that will be the end of our first qualifying run. Not going to be able to put in a time that is anywhere good when we've been facing the wrong direction at one point, but we get the car recovered back on circuit, and we will shortly get ready to jump ahead for the next flying lap. I think I may actually go for a second lap. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a couple of weeks. Of course, we raced this race Miami just before our break week last week. Just now getting around to getting these posted. So here we are jumping ahead for our next flying lap. New set of tires on, and away we go. And well, it's all to play for improvements wise. Much better getting to the apex of turn 1 that time, and a little more confident through the sweepers of turn 2 and 3. We got yellow flags. I think that was just behind us, though, so we are cleaned to continue. And then through this switchback. Now let's see if we can navigate turn 7 and 8 without losing the rear of the car. So on the brakes, just kind of modulating them. Not the best run we could take. It was a very, very tricky corner with no assists on, and there's a car going slowly. There's Mango. He's well off the racing line, though, by the time we get there. So through we go with the DRS open. Now down into the first of the action zones listed, turn 11. And you can see how it switches back to this long right-hander where you can really kind of fight back once again. Now through this little clumsy part to end the second sector as you work your way amongst the pylons of the overpass ahead. Take a fair bit of curb, and then we're actually going to pick up a little bit of slipstream maybe off of our teammate. He moves off to the side. DRS will now open. It's a little bit late down the straight to open the DRS. It is a long straight, so they don't want to give it to you the whole way. And then find the braking zone for this sharp hairpin, get the car rotated, and then as the track kind of falls away, ease onto the throttle until it's properly settled under. And a little blast of DRS to cross the line. A 28.6 is our first effort here in qualifying. Provisionally P6 at the moment, so a decent start, but we'll just have about one more opportunity to try and go for a lap. So here we are out on the circuit. We fall in one slot to 7th now. We're going to start up this final lap, see if we can make up some time in a few of the corners here. We give up a little bit of time on the entry to turn 1. It does pay dividends as we are quicker overall on the exit as a car was coming out of the pit lane. We've gained almost 2/10 of a second, over 1/10.5. Making our way past another car that has moved off the racing line. A little bit clumsy over the curb. They are pretty tall curbs here in Miami, and now we're pushing a little bit deep on the entry there, and that has cost us literally all the time we gained through Sector 1. We're essentially level with our previous lap through the first sector now. So a good turn 1 has been all thrown away by the tricky turn 7 and 8 combination. Now, we do have some time to find still in this later half of the lap, so hard on the brakes for the hairpin. A little bit tighter line this time through that long right-hander. And we are just about a 10th up on our previous best. Oh, big snap of oversteer, and actually the car fully rotates into the wall. And that is the end of that one. So no improvements to be had on that lap. We're just going to drag the wing along the wall because Issei was coming and I didn't want to be in the way. And pick up extra penalties for impeding. So as it stood, Cryptic took the pole position. Lorebo second. Habsvan Nick third. Queasy Pluto, our teammate, in fourth. Issei in fifth. Stanier in sixth. Our best effort put us seventh. And here we are on the grid. Issei a little bit out of sorts with his lineup on the grid box. And into turn 1, we get ready to go. Lots of wheel spin for the AlphaTauri ahead. We get a decent release starting on the medium compound tire around basically everybody on the hards. Big contact into our teammate. And we're getting forced off the track by the McLaren of Salmon Mania. So it looks like there was a slight touch with Stanier as well. And now we're going to try and sneak through as Salmon Mania goes way off, as I think he's got wing damage. Mango tried to stick it up the inside, and we had a little bit of a coming together there. So we're still sixth, and we've managed to dodge damage into turn 1. So we've picked up a position. Lima Bean did sneak through on that one. So as we were trying to navigate our way around the turn 1 melee, but not a very clean run into turn 1 this week for the Xbox division. We've managed to somewhat survive, and now are going to try and look ahead. We do have a pretty low downforce setup on the car compared to a lot of other drivers. I noticed our teammate Queasy is right behind us as well. He's on the hard compound tire. We're going to try and see if we can stay in front of him, although if he gets a good run, I'm not going to fight him too much. He's much higher up in the championship and had better pace than me, so I wasn't going to really contend too much with him. We'll use some battery charge as we head down this long back straight and start to pick up the VMAX over Lima, and you can see closing on this AlphaTauri ahead. As we get close to the braking zone, we're going to move to the inside, just past that light box. We mark out our braking point a little deep on the brakes. We try and cut back to try and not run out Lima Bean a little too far, but we get pushed a little bit onto the curb, touch the curb, unsettles the car, and we do a 360. And we just have to kind of stay off the track. We're waiting for all the other cars to pass so we can rejoin safely, but that has cost us big. From 6th down to 12th. And we are now having to work to catch back up to the field once again. MJ Povey ahead, who has had spotty attendance. Nemesis is out of the session, so who also has retired a few times in this season. So some of the only champions to go over in the previous 5 Xbox seasons. Both of them not really running enough races to get into the championship conversation at this stage. It's looking like we may crown our first new Xbox champion since Povey did it in Season 2. But we are working our way down the back straight. There's a bit of a melee of cars. Povey, Clapjack, Stanier is in the mix there. And we are about 2 seconds off. However, we are making some pretty decent moves as very close they are up ahead. And just not having to follow another car through this tricky little middle sector. You can see the amount of time I gained just by having clean air and not having to brake early and accelerate slowly for the other cars. We made up a second through that little middle sector, and we are going to close down even some more distance with the straight line speed that we've got. We've used a lot of battery, though, to try and catch up, so I'm trying to save some of it to prepare myself for overtaking opportunities. Cryptic sets the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly. Povey has a big moment out of the final corner. We're looking for some daylight. We go up the inside, and I think Povey may have had some damage with that one. So beyond the multiple champion we go, and looking ahead to Stanier, Mango, and Clapjack, who are all together. Side by side as Mango and Queasy's had a spin, so we are past our teammate once again after our spin. So we've swapped back. He was right on our gearbox when we had our spin, so he's had a bit of a shocker there. Mango, a little bit slow through the technical bit here of turns 6, 7, and 8. And we're looking to see, with DRS being available, if we can get a move done. MJ Povey hanging with us, so I think he's avoided significant damage. If there is damage, it's pretty minor, but we've got a very good run on the Aston Martin. Have a look to the outside, but no, switch it to the inside. We've got the run. We just need to make sure not to rear-end Stanier in the braking zone. So Mango is going to hold out to the inside. We give him space alongside that wall. He's made a little bit of contact, forces us towards the wall. We just have to kind of hold ground. That causes him to run a little wide, and a little bit of contact keeps us from being able to turn in the corner. That does force Mango to jump the curb, but Povey was sort of pushing me through the corner as well. And now with DRS available to these guys, it is going to be sketchy for me down into turn 17 here. So not using a lot of overtake. Our battery is running very low. We're just going to give up the inside, lift early to give Povey a chance. But he locks up significantly. Our teammate getting up the inside of us as well. We're just going to go ahead and leave space on the inside and let him go back through. He's showing very good pace compared to me. So we've let him through, and we're going to just try and stick in the wheel tracks of our teammate. A little bit of struggle braking under the dirty air there, run a little bit deep. Mango has already picked up 3-second track limits penalty. I don't think he picked it up. I'm sure he picked up a warning for sticking out. He was off the track on the outside on a later review from the corner, so he should have yielded that place once he was off the track, but it ended up not being reported. No harm, no foul. I think it was just, it's impossible to really go side by side through that corner, especially when you've got a car behind you pushing you along. But we're staying within the DRS of our teammate and MJ Povey. They are pushing on very hard as Queasy now looking to the inside of the Williams. And under braking is going to be a nose ahead, and Povey going to try and go for the cutback, but that is going to give Queasy the inside line for this long right-hander. Povey has that rear light flashing, meaning his battery is under 10%. So he is going to be looking to maybe start struggling on those tires. And Stanier is temporarily under AI control. So he's either had to pause for some reason or had a disconnect. Nemesis, who retired on lap 1, is out of the session at that point. But we've been in the thick of it from the start of this race. Normally there's a few cuts after lap 1, but it's been full action from lap 1 to 4 so far in this one. Very deep is Captain Claptrap. Or Clapjack. I don't know why I keep saying Claptrap. The Borderlands on the mind, apparently. But he's very deep through turn 17. Has to get his car spun around in the runoff. Our teammate actually sets fastest lap of the race on that lap. And, well, we're staying with them. But now Stanier kind of the cork in the bottle. A little bit of contact, maybe a squiggly rear end from Stanier there as Queasy's trying to work around the outside. It gets very tough through this middle little bit, or this early bit of the lap, rather, to stay side by side. Stanier slots in behind Queasy, and now MJ Povey will be the next to attack as they are very much on the gearbox of the other Williams running P8, P9 in this race. Clapjack, after rejoining, has shown decent pace, has stayed with this pack, and well, we've got a very good run on Povey. We used a lot of battery to get some early momentum. Now Slipstream DRS. He does have DRS, and we're going to try and go around the outside. Big lockup for Povey. And that's going to force me to kind of take off the track there. I was trying to leave him space because he was going straight on in that corner, not able to get the car rotated to the apex. So, unfortunately, we burned a whole lot of battery and we've gained nothing from it. There's contact between Povey and Stanier up ahead. Stanier getting very out of sorts as the two Williams drivers are now really scrapping with each other. I'm using a lot of battery here. Maybe there's an opportunity to get past Stanier at this stage. Me and Povey both below 10% of battery now. Cryptic taking fastest lap back. And no, we're just going to lift and coast early, do a little bit of fuel save, but Povey again with the big lockups into turn 17. And Stanier closed a lot of ground on Queasy down that straight, but not enough to actually get into a position to make a move. And once again, we go lap 6 now, and still embroiled in a battle for position. Povey goes deep. I go a little bit deep, not knowing where he's going to go. Stanier is off the track. I have a big snap of oversteer there coming through turn 2. And just about get it gathered up. Clapjack nearly got his nose alongside there and stuck it in, but we were able to handle the little shimmy and catch up. And now Povey has cleared Stanier as we have a deep run through turn 7 there. Really struggling as we're pushing. And the tires will start to grade, but we're using so much battery to just try and keep up and keep in this fight. Stanier has DRS, we have DRS, so no move is going to be forthcoming just yet. We're going to just utilize that, regen some battery on the braking into turn 11, and hope that he falls out of DRS of his teammate ahead, as it looks like Queasy might have cleared the DRS from Poviat. Looks like he's might be just about far enough. But another wiggle is almost the same mistake we made in qualifying. Stanier is very wide as you exit that Mickey Mousey kind of section. And now I don't think Stanier was close enough to get DRS. So no, that rear wing remains closed. You can see us gaining in speed. We're going to have a look to the outside. Stanier's going to stay defensive to the inside. On the brakes, we go around the outside, but not enough to pull alongside. Stanier's able to close it off. And we stay behind. But what that has done is it has bought us a little bit of time compared to Povey, or rather lost Stanier some time compared to Povey. So he's less likely to close himself back into that DRS range. And he's really struggling through the first sector. Big snap through turn 2. And that's going to give us an opportunity to make a run around the outside, just like our teammate did on Stanier a couple of laps ago. We go around the outside as well and up into 9th. So moving up forward through the points-paying positions, as is well documented. Home races, which have typically just been Circuit of the Americas, have been relatively cursed for me in FRS history. And now I'm just burning a lot of battery. Stanier about 9/10 of a second off the back of me. I just need to make sure that he's not able to use that DRS to close up on me. But, you know, after that first end of the first lap, getting spun around, and, you know, the mistake there was a classic USA race for me. I'm really just aiming to score some points. So Stanier has managed to stay just about in the DRS range. It's not going to be close enough that he's really going to be able to establish a proper attack on me down this DRS straight. I'm not even using the overtake at this moment, as my battery is quite low. So when you say Povey gets past Sam and May, you know, they go side by side now. And that is going to be the next driver we have to pay attention to. You can see the amount of time that can be gained with the DRS down that back straight, though. Stanier went from 9/10 to, or over a second, to about 6/10 in that one straight. I think he was a little better on the brakes than I was. Of course, if you have a lower downforce, that's less pressure pushing the wheels into the ground, and your braking distances are slightly increased. We'll jump ahead, though, now up to lap 11. We've managed to clear a gap to Clapjack and Stanier, and we've started catching up to Sam and Media. Povey is up 5 seconds up the road from us, but we've now got a look at the McLaren just ahead. And Stanier dropped back significantly because apparently he had a disconnect. I had forgotten about that, but you can see out the bottom it said Stanier has rejoined. So he was under AI control for a little bit, but we've got a good run on Sam and Mania. We've actually been able to save quite a lot of battery. Under braking, we're going to go side by side. Sam and Mania a little deep on the brakes. We're trying to leave space in case he cuts back. And he is, and a big snap of oversteer for him. And we did make contact with the rear. Luckily, we avoided any kind of damage. But now using this second DRS, we are going to try and overtake into turn 1. He's got the inside. I go around the outside. He's going to switch to the inside for turn 2. He's still just about there, so I got to leave space on the inside of turn 3, but job is done. And all that time we spent saving battery while we were chasing him down. We weren't using overtake to close up quickly, just gradually reeling him in. That means we've got about half battery now to deploy on this lap to really try and push. You'll see basically as soon as the throttle is down, the overtake button goes on, and that's going to help climb us up towards our VMAX very quickly and make some ground. Queasy Pluto dueling with Heinous Lime in the Alfa Romeo a little bit further up ahead of us now. Sam and Media just about hanging on to that 1 second margin using the DRS down that long straight. We're going to jump ahead a couple laps now, lap 13 of 29, and we have decided it is time to come into the pit lane. Povey is opted to box as well ahead of us. I believe Povey had some wing damage, but we're going to get turned in. We're going to get the hard compound tires on. And those will do enough to get us to the end of the race. You see Povey not yet released from the pit lane. as it took him a little longer to get that that tire change and wing change done. But now he's going to be on the better compound of tire right up behind me, so that's a little scary. He's not really our fight, and it is a tricky couple of corners to start this lap with cold tires. So we are going to try and bring those in up to operating temperature in a safe manner. You see just how much the car washes out through these sweepers with those cold tires. Need to get them up to at least about 85C before they really start to do their job. But we've got Simply Mango up ahead. 7 seconds the margin there, so some time to have to make up, but only one position to get into the points. I don't believe that they have stopped. I believe they started on the hard compound tire, so just striking off ahead and trying to see what we can reel in. I mean, we've already made up almost a second on them. MJ Povey getting inside our DRS range, and once again, we will not fight him too hard into these corners, especially because in turn 11 and turn 17 throughout this race, I noticed he was locking up a lot under braking and washing out a little bit wide. So I was planning to be extra careful around him in this race. But you can see the run he's got. A big lift in coast for me. You can see another big lockup from Povey. We go almost all the way to the track limit around the outside. Not really going to risk any kind of trouble. And now it's just going to be tuck in. See if we can use DRS to our benefit and get kind of towed along. The gap now only 5.4 seconds to make, but you can see a big lockup into turn 1 for Povey as well. And he seemed to be struggling a bit under braking here at Miami. Still good quick pace, but under braking was struggling a bit. But you can see those medium tires, the extra grip, especially compared to the wing level that I was running, that really hurt me in this first sector. He's already opened up that DRS time gap to me. But we'll jump ahead now, lap 17 of 29, as we run a little bit wide, pick up track limits warning. And Mango has pitted out of the way, so we are up now into 9th place. Stanier down into 10th. And Alfredo out of the session. We have a retirement there. And there's a full course yellow, and there's a full safety car being deployed. Now, we've already run quite a few laps on the medium tire at this one, and at this stage, it's worth, I think, potentially a gamble. The soft tires can do about 10 laps of green flag running. We're under safety car conditions, lap 17 of 29. So it's about 12 laps to go. We are going to have a couple of laps under the safety car where they're not getting used particularly hard. So I decided that at this stage, I was going to gamble. There's nothing really to lose. My gap to Stanier was relatively safe, 8 seconds. I think we would just come out behind him, but definitely clear of Clapjack with safety car conditions. So into the pit lane, we set ourselves up for. Salmon Mania is in there. MJ Povey, I believe, stayed out on his medium tires. He does have a 5-second penalty that he would have to serve if he pits. We are very safe on the pit entry line, not pushing it all that much. And going ahead and grabbing a fresh set of red striped soft tires. And away we go. So Stanier and Clapjack actually made it through because the leader had got picked up by the safety car, and now they no longer had to drive to the Delta. So now we're actually essentially racing Mango on the pit exit here. And we just about come out ahead. So we get up. We're down in 11th place, so we've lost a couple of positions via the pit stop, but we are on a quick tire to the end of this. And of course, as we get ready to go back green, there is an absolute shambles of a restart, as it looks like a complete mess from the leader, who did not let the safety car get far enough away. Cryptic has a big spin and has dropped right down the order. We had to really check up and just kind of be safe through that restart, but now we're up one position, we're into the points, and there is a big melee of cars ahead of us. We do have fresher, softer tires than the lot of them, so it's going to be a matter of trying to pick our way through these guys relatively cleanly, if at all possible. And with the field all bunched up, there is the chance of further shambles. Clapjack and Salmon Mania very close to each other at this early stage of the lap. And now with the overtake, no DRS for 3 laps after a safety car comes in, of course. And there's a little bit of contact between Salmon Mania and Clapjack, and at this stage, I'm looking at that and going, I want no part of that. So I just kind of lift and coast into the braking zone, let them sort it out ahead of me, as Clapjack is sticking their nose right up the inside and is going to get very hairy as they're wheel banging and wall banging, and I get pushed across by Cryptic there, as Salmon Mania had a big mistake, but Cryptic spins Simply Mango up the inside of us, kind of running us out to the wall. But now we're going to tuck in, grab a little bit of slipstream. Now big use of the overtake button, and that is where our car's straight line speed comes into play. So we're back up to 10th, so we're into the points once again, which is kind of our goal for Miami. However, only 12 cars left running in this race, but trying to be careful and just let the 2 cars ahead of me sort it out through that last part of the middle sector resulted in me getting nearly overtaken by 2 cars. Of course, Cryptic did make the overtake, but then just lost it on throttle, or maybe got touched by Mango into that corner. But it's the tough part. If you're not attacking and there's a car close behind, you should be defending. But I really wasn't in a position to run a defensive line. He just kind of stuck his nose up in a place that I had to yield. It was either I yield or we have a crash, or a bigger crash than the crash that was had. And at this point, I'm just trying to score some points. I'm telling the in-game engineer, no, I'm not making another pit stop. Just leave me be. We are catching up to Salmon Mania pretty quickly here with that straight line speed. And a big lockup from the McLaren ahead of us. Now into this little middle sector. They're going to be fairly close to Clapjack. We should not have DRS just yet. I think it gets enabled next lap. Clapjack and Lima Bean are very close to each other, dueling it out. And I'm going to try and make use of my straight line speed advantage. So overtake is on. You can see with the slipstream just how much ground I'm managing to make. Salmon Mania goes early to the inside defensively, and he launches past us on a big lockup, and there's contact between Lima Bean and Captain Claptrap. And as Salmon Mania just doesn't lift out, just drives directly into the back of us, as they just turned left and spun us out. So we're back out of the points through no fault of our own once again. And DRS is enabled, and now we're sitting 11th. But jump ahead, lap 24, up to 10th. Salmon Mania ahead of us and weaving quite a lot, and really scaring me on that one. You can see the hand go up in frustration. But we're up into 9th, so we've made some ground. I believe one driver in the time warp had to pit for damage that moved out of our way. I think it was one of the ones involved with the incident. But 2.5 seconds to Cryptic up ahead. Lima Bean 5.9 on hard tires. But at this point, we just got to try and get these tires home. We're in a position to potentially score some points. If anybody else makes a mistake, we can kind of pick that off. But otherwise, I am pushing quite a bit this lap. You can see 2 green sectors, 2 personal bests. So I was going to see if on the soft tires we might be quick enough in our personal best to steal a fast lap. But we will see if we are able to do that as we cross the line, because not many other drivers were on the softs. However, they are about 5 laps old now and have lost some of their life. And we did improve to a 31.1, but it was not the fastest lap of the race. So now we've got to just kind of let our battery recharge. We didn't really make a whole lot of ground on Cryptic in those laps either. There's yellow flags up ahead, though, as Lima Bean has gone around on the hard tires. So up into 8th we go with just a few laps left to go in the Miami Grand Prix. Just need to keep it on track, not make any mistakes, and we'll bring home a couple of points at least, which at this point is a welcome sight for a race around the USA to score any points. But jumping ahead now, lap 29, you can see the tire wear graphic up 70% on both the front. 75 is where the puncture territory starts to kick in, and we are relatively safe of that. Salmon Mania just continually fell away from us. Queasy Pluto crossed the line first, but lost the race win on penalty. So Lorebo in the Red Bull actually scored the race win. And we are just working our way around the last couple of corners here nice and safely as we drop the cars behind. Stanier 9 seconds ahead, but with a 3-second time penalty, so not going to come back to us at all. It'll be close actually between them and Cryptic. It ended up being a 6-second gap. But we come across P8, pick up some points. But the top step of the podium today belonged to the Red Bull driver of Lorenz Bors or Lorebo, as they are in the game, or Lorenz in the Discord. So they're a man of many names. Our teammate Queasy Pluto P2, and I believe that is Habsvan Nick collecting another podium position in this one. So a good result for Alfa Romeo in Xbox, as they have a fair bit of work to do in the team's championship. But all told, all things considered, this race, I felt like I had the pace to be challenging inside the top 5. Mistake-wise, I think maybe the one on lap 1 might have been my mistake, just not quite being able to hold no space. But there you have the running order. Lorebo, Queasy Pluto, Hapsfan Nick, MJ Povey ran a 4th place out of that. Heinous Slime in 5th, Stanier in 6th, Cryptic in 7th. And Cryptic was over a second quicker on his best lap. So definitely wasn't quick enough to really get up and steal that fast lap point away, but we did survive the race. We did score some points, and quite happy to do so. But that is the Miami Grand Prix. Thank you for joining me once again, and I will catch you next time.